When your toddler pulls your hand toward the fridge instead of pointing, you probably think they know what they want. That's independence.
But what you might not realize is that this tiny moment, this single gesture that you see multiple times every day,
can be one of the earliest signals that communication pathways in your child's brain aren't connecting the way they should.
And here's what makes this so unsettling. You'd never know.
Because it doesn't look like a problem. It looks like personality.
Most parents assume developmental delays announce themselves, that you'd see something dramatic, something unmistakable.
But the truth? The earliest signs hide in plain sight.
In meal times, in playtime.
In the moments you're not even thinking about development at all.
If you've ever had that nagging feeling something's different, but you can't name it, you're not overthinking. You might be noticing something real.
Today, I'm walking you through the 10 invisible patterns that developmental specialists watch for, and most parents completely miss.
Now, here's what most parents don't realize when they're watching for developmental concerns.
You're looking for the wrong thing entirely.
Parents scan for red flags, unusual behaviors, things that look wrong.
But research into early developmental delays shows they don't work that way in the first stages. They're invisible because they're absences, missing pieces in a puzzle you didn't know you were building.
Your child's brain develops like a symphony, learning to play together.
The communication section needs to sync with the motor section. Sensory processing has to coordinate with social engagement.
when one instrument comes in late, or not at all, the whole piece sounds slightly off.
But you can't hear what isn't there. You can only hear what is.
That's why I'm about to show you something different. Not what your child does that concerns you,
but what they're not doing yet that should be there by now.
These aren't personality traits. They're developmental gaps.
And once you know where to look, you'll see them everywhere.
Do you want the blue cup? Good job pointing.
Here's something you'd never think to track. Does your child point?
Not grab, not reach, point. With intention.
Because pointing seems too simple to matter. But neurologically, it's extraordinary.
Can you show Daddy where the dog is?
Maggie.
Yes, that's right. It's a doggy.
That your attention can be directed.
This is called joint attention, and it's the foundation of every conversation they'll ever have.
Watch this scenario. You're making lunch. Your toddler wants the crackers on the counter. Do they point and look at you, or do they cry until you figure it out?
Get it, Mommy, now!
All right, hold on. You're very demanding today.
Try this today. Put 2 appealing snacks just out of reach. Wait, don't offer, just observe.
A typically developing 15-month-old will point, make eye contact, maybe vocalize. They're recruiting your help.
If your child consistently bypasses pointing, even after 15 or 16 months, that's your first invisible sign.
Milestones like confidently using a shape sorter demonstrate strong cognitive development and fine motor skills.
Your child makes eye contact. They look at you when you call their name. So eye contact isn't the issue, right?
Not exactly. There's a specific type of eye contact most parents never think about. It's called referential looking.
And it's what separates true communication from just being in the same room.
Think about this. You and your partner are watching TV. Something shocking happens. You immediately look at each other.
Not because you need to, you both saw it, but because humans are wired to share experiences.
That micro glance says, "Are you seeing this?"
Babies start doing this around 9 to 10 months. They look at a toy, then at you, then back at the toy.
That triangle is their first conversation.
Without it, language development stalls.
Because every word they learn is anchored in shared focus. Here's what it looks like when it's missing.
But they never glance up at your face. Not to check your reaction. Not to share excitement.
They're with the book, but not with you. Tonight, try this. Hold a favorite toy near your face. Watch their eyes. Do they look at the toy? Or do they fixate on the toy and never involve you in the moment?
If that triangle is missing, especially after 12 months, you're seeing sign number 2.
While every child develops at their own pace, pay close attention to how they interact with objects and others.
This one often gets celebrated. It's true, it always turns out great. She plays by herself for 45 minutes. He's so focused, never needs me.
And yes, independent play is healthy. It's important. But there's a version of it that looks like a gift when it's actually a gap.
A common pattern developmental playful specialists note.
A child who can stack blocks for half an hour straight, focused, engaged, clearly bright, but never once looks up to share.
That's not deep focus. That's a missing social bridge. So here's the question. When your child plays alone, do they ever check in with you? A quick look? A smile? Bringing you something to see?
Join their play tomorrow. Not to direct it, just sit nearby. Do they incorporate you? Hand you a block? Show you their creation?
Or do they continue as if you're not there?
It's okay, sweetie. I know it's loud, and let's go inside for a little while.
Picture this. You're at a birthday party. There's a bounce house. Every kid is screaming with joy, throwing themselves into the chaos. Your child stands frozen at the entrance, hands over ears.
Or they're in full meltdown because someone handed them a cupcake and now there's frosting on their fingers.
You apologize to other parents. You make excuses. You think they're just sensitive. They've always been this way.
Maybe. But consistent, intense avoidance of textures, sounds, or sensations can signal differences, and sensory processing is deeply connected to motor development, language, and social engagement.
Think about the ripple effect. If touching Play-Doh feels overwhelming, they won't explore it. If messy hands cause distress, they'll avoid activities that build fine motor skills. The avoidance isn't the problem. Watch for patterns this week. Offer 2 different textures during play.
Something smooth and something rough. Do they explore both? Avoid one entirely. React with distress.
One preference is personality. A pattern of avoidance is data.
Responding to gestures, like clapping, is a key indicator of social development around 12 months.
When you clap, does your child clap back?
When you wave bye-bye, do they mirror it?
It's how the brain builds its entire social operating system. Mirror neurons fire when your child watches you do something.
It's how they learn language, gestures, social rules, empathy. By 12 months, most children are imitating simple acts.
When imitation is limited, it's not stubbornness. It's a signal that those mirror neuron networks might need support.
This week, try 3 things. Clap in front of them. Wave with exaggerated movement. Make an obvious surprised face. Watch what happens.
Do they mirror spontaneously? After a delay? Not at all?
She just doesn't like change. He's stubborn. Always has been.
I hear this from parents constantly, and I understand. It feels like personality. It feels like willfulness.
But here's what's actually happening in the brain. Executive function and cognitive flexibility are still under construction.
The ability to shift mental gears, to let go of one thing and move to another, requires neural pathways that are actively developing.
When transitions trigger meltdowns every single time, bath to pajamas, playtime to dinner, screen off to anything else, that's not defiance.
That's a developing brain struggling with flexibility.
Now, you might be thinking, but every toddler hates transitions. And you're right, to a degree.
The difference is intensity and consistency. Typical toddlers protest. They recover within minutes, maybe with some redirection.
But when flexibility is genuinely challenging, the emotional response is more intense, longer crying, harder.
Here's what to observe. Give a 2-minute warning before the next transition, then a 1-minute warning.
Does the warning help at all? Or does the meltdown happen regardless of preparation?
If warnings consistently make no difference, that's the pattern to note. This sign often looks like something to brag about.
He lines up his cars perfectly, so organized. She sorts everything by color. She's going to be an engineer.
And maybe she is. But here's what I need you to understand about play development.
Typical play evolves. It moves from exploring objects to using them functionally to using them symbolically.
The block becomes a phone. The car drives to grandma's house. The stuffed animal gets sick and needs medicine.
Symbolic play is how children practice real life safely. It's where language explodes, where empathy develops, where creativity takes root.
Content. When play stays repetitive, lining up, sorting, spinning wheels instead of driving cars, the brain.
Not wrong, not bad, but worth noticing.
Try this. During play, offer a story prompt. Oh no, the car is stuck in mud. What should we do?
Do they engage with the pretense scenario? Build on it? Or do they look confused and return to lining up?
What are you building there? Sweetheart, can you hear me?
They hear me when they want to. This is one of the most common assumptions parents make. And yes, toddlers are selectively attentive.
That's normal, but here's the distinction. Typically, developing children respond to their name consistently, even if they don't always comply with what comes next.
There's a difference between hearing your name and ignoring the request versus not registering your name at all.
Inconsistent name response, especially during calm, neutral moments, can signal differences in auditory processing or social engagement.
Do this over the next few days. When your child is calmly playing with something moderately interesting, not their absolute favorite thing, stand behind them.
Say their name once. Normal volume. Do they turn, acknowledge you at all? Try it 5 times across different days. If they respond maybe once or twice out of 5, and it's not during high-focus moments, that's the pattern I'm talking about.
But one critical note here. Before you worry about brain development, get their hearing checked.
Fluid in the ears can make a child hear underwater, which mimics this sign perfectly. Rule that out first.
Most parents track physical milestones carefully. Rolling, crawling, walking. First steps get celebrated, filmed, shared.
But here's the connection most people miss. Motor development and communication development share the same neural pathways.
When a child is late to walk and limited in gestures, that combination matters more than either sign alone.
Late coordination and slow social engagement. Delayed fine motor skills and reduced eye contact.
Alone, each might be nothing. Together, they're a pattern.
Watch your child during activities that require both movement and interaction. Chasing games, dancing together, rolling a ball back and forth.
Is one significantly lagging behind the other? Or are they developing in sync?
Every child develops at their own pace, but observing how they interact with objects can provide valuable insights.
This might be the most invisible sign of all, because it's hidden inside your competence as a parent.
You've learned to read your child perfectly.
You know what every grunt means. You anticipate needs before they're expressed.
You've become fluent in a language that doesn't require them to communicate clearly. That's not failure. That's love adapting.
But here's the flip side. When a child consistently uses your body as a tool, pulling your hand toward what they want without any other attempt at communication.
Specialists call this hand leading. It suggests that expressive strategies haven't developed the way they should.
Not pointing, not vocalizing, not looking at you then at the object. Just pulling.
Try this. When you know exactly what they want, pause. Create a small gap before giving it. Do they attempt anything? A sound, a gesture, a look at your face? Or do they simply wait for you to do what you always do?
That gap is where communication should emerge. If it doesn't, even after several seconds, take note.
Now, if you recognized your child in 3, 4, even 7 of these signs, I need you to hear this.
You haven't failed. Your child isn't broken. And noticing these patterns, that's not catastrophizing. That's exactly what attentive parenting looks like. Here's a pattern that emerges consistently in early intervention research.
The parents who feel the most guilt are often the ones who take action the fastest.
They beat themselves up for missing signs that developmental specialists know are designed to be invisible.
But you didn't miss them. You just didn't know they existed. Now you do.
So here's what happens next, and I want to be specific. First, document patterns over the next 2 weeks.
Not isolated moments. Patterns. Context matters.
Does this happen every time or only when they're tired?
Second, if you're seeing 3 or more of these signs consistently, request a developmental screening, not a regular pediatrician. You can ask for a referral or contact your local early intervention program directly.
In the US and many other countries, these evaluations are often free or fully subsidized for children under 3.
Third, remember this. Early support isn't about fixing deficits. It's about building bridges in your child's brain.
Exactly when those connections are most flexible. The window between 18 months and 3 years is when intervention makes the most profound difference.
You're not overreacting. You're being proactive.
You now understand the 10 invisible patterns most parents completely overlook.
You know what absence looks like, and you know how to observe without panic.
But knowing the signs creates a new problem. What do you actually do about them?
Because your instinct right now is probably to buy something: developmental toys, sensory tools, educational products that promise to build these skills.
And that's exactly where most parents sabotage their child's progress without realizing it.
There are 7 products sitting in millions of homes right now that actually interfere with the development you're trying to support.
Products that look helpful but create the opposite effect.
I break down all 7 in this video. Watch it before you buy anything. You're already doing the hard part, paying attention. Don't let the wrong products undo that work.